Hi Flosstube, this is Stephanie, the Ivy House Crafter, and Audrey, my Ivy House Little Crafter, and Philip, my Ivy House Even Littler Crafter.
You can call him Junior Crafter.
Or just Philip, whatever works.
Yeah.
I'd rather have small Ivy Crafter.
Small Ivy Crafter. There we go. I am joined by these two because they did some cross stitching this week and wanted to show it off. We're going to start with Philip because we actually can't show his cross stitching. he has lost it. He lost it last night, and we had to look all over the place to find it so that he could show Daddy that he had done his cross stitching, and then he lost it again after that. So when we find it, he'll come back and, you know, whatever video that is, then we'll show it in that video. But here is a picture of what he cross stitched. He drew this little rocket ship all by himself, and I loaded the needles for him with the appropriately colored embroidery floss, and gave him a piece of 14 count Aida and had him just go for it. And he actually did a really good job, and I wish that we could find his piece so that we could show it, but maybe next week.
And the back has my failure.
Yeah,
I actually want to do that one. It looks like a pretty good shape.
I printed this out for him and he colored it in, but decided that he didn't like the fact that the squares on this were so big, and so it wouldn't look like this when he stitched it, and it didn't look at all like the rocket ship he was intending. And so that's when this little picture came into play. But if we find it before I get this fully uploaded, then I'll like tack in a little video right in here. But if not, then he'll probably be in next week's video. Okay, Audrey has something very exciting. Yesterday you had your first, do you want me to say it? Finish. She had her first finish. This is her happy flower. This was a kit that she got for Christmas in 2017. And she started it and she finished it yesterday. She finished the last few stitches and then did all of the back stitching and was so super proud of herself. What were you going to say, Philip? You forgot? Okay. If you remember, let me know. Anyway, Audrey was so excited with having her first finish that she just had to keep going. We have this book called the Mega Mini Cross Stitch book. It's by Makoto Oozu, and it's got all these very small cross stitch motifs.
I want to do the fruitcake next, but here's what I did.
Here is what Audrey did. This is an onigiri rice ball, and this is a glass of orange juice.
It's filled up to the top because I forgot.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an extra row between the top of the orange juice and the top of the glass, but she kind of misread the pattern and missed that row, and so I just helped her improvise and just say, well, there's just, the glass is all the way full instead of mostly full. So that is Audrey's 3 finishes. Okay, do you remember what you were going to say?
Yeah.
Okay, what were you going to say?
Well, do you see that space in the rocket? Well, on my cross sticks, it isn't there. It's actually, all the rocket is connected to
Oh,
the
yeah.
bottom.
Yep, so it doesn't look exactly like this, but it looks very, very close.
And the middle one isn't even there.
Yeah.
The middle part
In
of
the
it.
picture, there's 3, are those legs, or what are they?
Thing that the rocket
Needs to launch. It's like the jet part of the engine.
Anyway, there's 3 of them on the picture. Okay, there's 3 of them in the picture, but he only put 2 in the cross stitch because there wasn't room in the middle for another one. Okay, so that concludes the portion of the video with these 2 cuties, and they're gonna head downstairs now. Okay.
Blub, 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 blub.
Blub,
I'm
blub, blub.
fishy.
Okay.
Can't I, like, stay on the whole episode? episode.
I'm actually more comfortable talking all by myself when I know that there's tons of people,
Got my
or at
picture.
least
Got my picture.
several people that are going to be. Anyway,
Fishy.
I like it better by myself.
Okay.
That's okay. Alright.
Wait, Philip, see if I'm on the video. See if I look.
I already checked. You're there. See, it's good. Okay. I'm going to
Philip.
pause this and
I'm gonna
head
see if
downstairs.
you're on the video.
I'm on the video. Okay, I'm back. Aren't they fun? Alright. So, as of last week's video, I had not yet begun my... now Matthew's upset because the kids went downstairs, which means the door to the downstairs was open briefly, and he wanted to come upstairs and did not get to come upstairs. So he's a little upset. But he's okay. He's got loving siblings downstairs that are taking care of him. Anyway, as of my video last week, I had not yet started my Stitch Mania because it wasn't May yet. I had a few last minute preparations yet to make, and I'm going to share those now. First, you probably recall, if you were watching last week's video, that I showed some project bags that I had been making for myself to keep all my lovely new projects in. One of them was this flower bag, and then one of them was a musical bag. And I finished the other 4 that I was working on. I have my blue with, I don't know what they are, some sort of flower. My yellowish cherry blossom, my Chinese or Japanese fans, and my maroon mandala thing. So I finished all of those project bags. Also, one of the pieces that I will be starting at some point this month, I wanted to hand dye some fabric for it. I hadn't really settled on a piece of fabric that I wanted, and had some spare linen that I thought would be fun to try dyeing. And I wanted to try natural dyeing, so with things like onion skins and blueberries, and I wasn't sure at all about anything in the process. I knew that you boil the stuff and that turns the water into a dye. You boil the stuff and then strain out all the solids and use that to dye your fabric, and that was the extent of my knowledge. And so I just put a bunch of stuff in a pot and boiled it and turned it into dye. I used a combination of yellow onion skins, frozen blueberries, cinnamon, and turmeric. It smelled amazing. I mean, even the onion, like without the onion and the turmeric, it would have smelled like a dessert, but add in the onion and turmeric, and it smelled like some sort of, excuse me, some sort of Middle Eastern dish, and it was just incredible, and the fabric still smells really nice. So, it smells edible, but it's not. Don't eat your fabric. PSA. So, I boiled together all this stuff, and I strained it through my nut milk straining bag that I have. It turned it very yellow because of the turmeric. That stuff is strong, y'all. And so I just strained it into a glass bowl and wadded up my fabric and stuck it in there and let it sit for quite a while. I did not get what I was going for, the look that I was going for. I wasn't sure what colors I was going to end up with. I was thinking kind of a brownish with maybe like a little bit of a reddish hint from the blueberries, and I wanted it to be subtle. That's not what I got. This is what I got. So I can't use it for the piece for which it was intended, but I love this. This is so cool. like the colors in the dye, they didn't blend. They just different dyes dyed different parts of the fabric. I mean, I wasn't like putting in, okay, here's some blueberry, here's some onion skin, here's some turmeric, and dyeing different parts. They just kind of naturally separated and dyed it all on their own, just doing whatever they felt like. And it looks so awesome. It will not work for the Patriotic Sampler. It's called American Sampler. I think it's by Plum Street Samplers. Anyway, I'll start it and you'll see it eventually. But this would be great for like a Halloween piece or something. It's like brownish purple, and you can see the deep yellows from the turmeric, and yeah, really awesome. And it smells so cool. It will not, it is nothing like what I intended it to be. But yeah, like I said, I love it. I had a couple more pieces of fabric that I was going to play around with and see what I could come up with. So after I removed that fabric and, you know, rinsed it out and everything, got it set out to start drying, I added water to the remaining dye and stirred in just a little bit of dark brown RIT dye. And I put in a piece of, oh, this is 36 count linen. I'm not sure what type of linen. It was just basic antique white linen. So I had a piece of 28 count Monaco, and it was just white. And so I crumpled that up and put that in the dye that had been watered down and had just a touch of the brown RIT dye. And this one I only left in for a few minutes before I took it out and rinsed it. And this is what I came up with. It is hairy because of the cat hair. It's a really pretty purple with little bits of like the brownish yellow, but because I left it in for such a shorter time and it's like a thicker fabric, it didn't take the dye quite as much, and the dye was watered down, so this one is a lot more subtle. Anyway, this one's pretty fun. It's kind of like a dirty purple. That's what it looks like. So this was watered down natural dyes and a touch of RIT. I wasn't intending to use this one for the American Sampler. This one was just, you know, I'll see what else I can do with that dye. I have this fabric lying around. I still needed fabric for the sampler. I still needed that very subtle, slightly brownish, but mostly just an antique looking linen. And I had one more piece of 36 count linen. So this time I just took hot water and added just a little bit of dark brown RIT dye and crumpled up the fabric, put it in there for a few minutes, took it out and rinsed it, and I got what I needed. Very subtle variegation in this one. The dark brown RIT dye, it does have like a reddish base, and so that slightly reddish tinge that I was hoping for with the first not at all subtle fabric I got with this one. I'm sure I could achieve this kind of subtlety with natural dyes, just much less concentrated than what I used in the first batch. Anyway, so this is the fabric I will use for American Sampler later on this month. And that was my adventures in fabric dyeing with both RIT and natural dyes. Natural dyeing is so much fun. Like, I don't know, there's something about taking kitchen scraps and ingredients for like spicing your food and stuff and turning it into something that creates beautiful fabric. This will not be the last time that I use natural dyes and create fabric with it. I have some avocado pits and skins that I have started to collect in the freezer because they apparently do like this peachy pink color that should be really fun. And I'll be trying other fun combinations, and no promises, but some of my experiments might end up in my Etsy shop at some point. So keep an eye out on that. That is just ivyhousecrafter.etsy.com. And like I said, no promises, and it won't be for a while, but it's kind of fun, and yeah. Alright, let's move on to the stitching. Before Maynia started, I had like a day or two for stitching that did not include new starts, and so I pulled out Active Service by the Etsy shop Purple Stitching. And here she is. I added some colors in here, and some of them are kind of spread out through here. Just bringing in this section further and further closer to her face, which, isn't it beautiful? She is so beautiful. I wish I looked like that. She's so pretty. Anyway, love this piece and love it every time I work on it. And I know some people prefer not stitching the best part until the last. Some people like having the face done so that, you know, the person looks looks natural and cool and stuff while they work on everything else. I just do whatever I feel like, and for this piece I wanted her face done, so she didn't have like these empty eyes staring at me. Anyway, so yeah, this was what I worked on leading up to Stitch Mania. And that brings us to Stitch Mania. As a reminder, I am every 3 days starting a new piece, and during that 3-day period I have that new start that I can work on and a current whip that I can also bring out and work on. I also have a biscornu that I am working on throughout the month because the deadline for sending that to my swap partner is early June. So the first 3 days in May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, yeah, that's how it goes. I'll show the whip first. The whip that I chose to work on was the biscornu, and this is just motifs from an old sampler that I have in a book that I put together as a biscornu pattern. And I'm stitching very tiny, 1/1 on 28 count, antique white, I think. And it's just so little and so cute. Last time I had the yellow center and this mermaid, and so over this week I have added the griffin and the second mermaid. I love this little griffin. It's so cute. It's not technically an actual griffin because griffins have like the head and the front of an eagle, I think, and this still had, it's basically a winged lion, but anyway, I'm calling it a griffin. So that is the biscornu. And that was my my extra whip that I was working on the first 3 days. I think I might have also worked on it during the second period too. Anyway, so my first new start of Maynia was, I should have pulled this out of the packaging earlier. This is Salt Lake Temple Square by Yvette S. Ungrit. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. That's okay. It's a very small picture on the front here, but you get the general idea. There's the assembly hall, the temple and its annex, the tabernacle, lion house, and the beehive house. And those are all historic buildings in Temple Square here in Salt Lake. And I am stitching this 2/1 on 28 count. I think this is a Summer Sky Jobelin, and you can see hopefully you can see it. The colors don't always turn out right, but it's a very pretty blue with little bits of white for clouds and stuff. And I have some trees and mountains and the assembly hall. And I really like how this turned out. I'm backstitching as I go because there is a whole crap ton of backstitching in this piece, and I think it would be overwhelming to wait to the end. So yeah, it's really fun. The colors don't show up the same in real life that they do on the picture. They look a lot more blown out, I think. This is from 2001, so some of the colors might be a little bit different, because that's like 18 years. Yeah, 18 years. Math. 'Cause math. But I think it's just the photo quality. Perhaps it was overexposed or something. So anyway, this is Salt Lake Temple Square by Yvette Ungrit. And that is what I worked on. I actually only worked on this the first day of that 3-day period, and I worked on the Biscornu for the other 2 days. And that brings us to the next 3-day period, which is May 4th, 5th, and today the 6th. My pattern that I have started, it got bent, that I started on the 4th, I don't have any Star Wars pieces, so I couldn't do any May the 4th be with you cross-stitch celebrations, but this is a piece that I won in one of Michelle Bendy Stitchy's giveaways, and there's no cover page for it, it's just the pattern. Here's a general idea of what it's going to look like. This is from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. Where does it say? It's like all over the place until you look for it. March and April 1991 episode. Anyway, so I am stitching this 2/2 on 32 count natural linen. I just got this at Joann's quite a while ago. Never had any plans for it. I just got it because I figured I could use it, and it turned out to be perfect for this project. See, it's this like kind of dark, grungy, it's very thick linen, really holds its shape. And I feel like, I mean, it just looks like something that Michelle Bendy would stitch on. You know, I feel like she stitches a lot on the dark, grungy linen look fabrics. So I've got some hanging thread here. this is what I've got so far. It says fresh vegetables. I really like patterns that have like fresh produce and stuff. That's kind of turning into my thing. I really like them. Anyway, I can see looking at the fabric, especially with the light shining through it like it is right here. For you it's just shining on it, but for me back here it's shining through it. The up and down is straight, the side by side is kind of like slanted up just a tiny bit, so this may not end up exactly square. I'm okay with that. This was a lot of fun to work on. I worked on this on the 4th and on the 5th, and I got this super awesome head of lettuce, and there's another one gonna go right here. Anyway, lots of fun. The especially fun thing about this piece is because I don't have a cover photo, I don't know what it looks like stitched up. All I have is a pattern that is printed in black and pink, and so I have no real concept of what it's going to look like when it's done. So even just the first tiny corner was like, oh, so that's where we're going with this. That's cool. Like these coppery oranges. Yeah, they were a surprise, and I really like this pattern. This is super cool. So I think for today, the rest of this 3-day rotation, I will continue working on this a bit, and then I probably also will put in a little bit more work on my biscornu, and that will finish up this 3-day rotation, and I'll start a new one tomorrow. And I won't decide when I'm going to start until tomorrow, probably. Anyway. Last week's video, as you know, if you watched last week's video, I was celebrating 50 episodes of Flosstube as Ivy House Crafter and 500 subscribers. And I was giving away a project bag set, which I have since actually made. I hadn't even started it last week, but I made it. There is this large project bag, and it is, as you can see, bumblebees. And on the inside, it's the same fabric, but black instead of cream. And it's got my crocheted trim and a dangly little zipper charm. There is a medium-sized project bag in coordinating black and gold, and this one is also lined with the black bumblebee fabric. And there is a coordinating black bumblebee ort catcher lined with the white bumblebee fabric. I did a random YouTube comment picker. Drum roll, the winner is Jennifer Upton, who said, oh, the thing I asked was if you could have a collection of 50 things, what would it be? Her answer was, my collection of 50 things would be eyeshadow palettes, which I may be close to, LOL. So, Jennifer Upton, I have your address. You don't need to contact me. I will just get this to you. And you can enjoy your super awesome bumblebee project bag set. Alright, that is everything that I have for you today. I will, over the next week, continue with my 3-day new start / whip rotation. I hope everybody is having a great May so far, and continues to have a great May. Have a great week, and happy stitching, everybody. Bye.